friends. I thought today it's such a beautiful day that it would be fun to do story time outside. And since we're learning now about birds, I can hear them all singing and talking to each other in their bird community, in their neighborhood. The book that I have to share today is called Cradles in the Trees, the story of bird nests. It's by Patricia Brennan DeMuth. Illustrated, that's the person who did the illustrations, the pictures, by Suzanne Barnes. What is a cradle? Do you know? I know that a baby cradle is like a little bed that rocks that moms and dads can put newborn babies in and rock them to sleep. Do birds make cradles too? Let's find out. After the long, cold winter, springtime comes. The world leaps to life again. New flowers peek out of the ground. Green buds burst forth on the trees, and skies are full of birds flying home. All winter long, many birds stay in warm places. In the spring, they return home. Some must travel a long, long way to get back. The little bobolink, this is a bobolink, flies 5,000 miles. Do you know how far that is? If you went all the way from Massachusetts and flew to California, that's 3,000 miles. Well, the bobolink flies even farther. I wonder how long it takes them. After their long trips, the birds don't rest for long. There is work to be done. Soon the mothers will lay their eggs. Baby birds will be born. Where will the babies live? They need safe, warm homes. And so the job of building nests must begin. Every bird makes a nest just like the one its parents made. How does it learn how? No one ever teaches it. It just knows. Inside a bird's brain is a deep knowing called instinct. By instinct, every bird knows just what to do. It's kind of like when babies are born, their instinct is they already know how to suck and get their milk from a bottle or from their mummies. Birds build their nests in all kinds of different places. In the trees, on the ground. That doesn't seem like a very safe place. Under bridges, inside the lids of old tin cans, on top of cliffs, even inside chimneys. The chimney swift, that's this kind of bird, glues its nest right to the side of the chimney. How can a bird get glue? Its body makes it. The glue looks like a brown liquid, and it flows out of the bird's mouth at nesting time, right when it's needed. They don't have to go to the store and buy a bottle of glue. Can you make glue in your body? I can't. Birds make nests out of all sorts of materials. Whatever they need is found right in their own neighborhoods. Seabirds, for example, pick up pebbles from the shore to make their nests. Forest birds use parts of trees like leaves and tiny roots. Field birds use grasses and weeds. And city birds use string or pieces of paper. Take a look at the huge nest of the crow. If you took it apart, what would you find? I'll hold it close so you can look before I read the words. Did you see corn stalks, a piece of rope, and feathers? And what's this brown, icky, gooey stuff? It's cow manure. They must be using that for glue. How do birds put all the different pieces of their nests together? Some are weavers. They weave together long grasses or plant stems using their beaks, like sewing needles. When they're all done, their nests look like baskets. Some birds use mud to stick the parts of their nests together. That's what the mother robin does. Rain may wash away some of the mud, so she quickly goes out and gets more. If you could watch the mother robin make her nest, what would you see? First, you would see her carrying everything she needs to the tree. She brings a pile of twigs and grasses, one by one. Look at, she's carrying them in her beak. She makes a pile on where she wants her nest. And when the pile gets high enough, she stamps them with her feet to make it flat. Then she adds mud and stamps on that too. Then she presses against the pile with her red breast. The nest starts to get a nice round shape. That's how they get it to look like a bowl. Next comes the walls, made just like the bottom. When everything is done, the mother robin sets herself down once more. She twists and turns, and soon her nest is shaped like a lovely round bowl. The mother robin builds the nest all by herself, but the father robin helps out in other ways. He feeds the busy mother. She can't take time to look for food for herself. He also keeps guard. Other birds might want to build their nests too close. The male chases them away. He makes scolding noises. "Go find a different place," he chatters. "This spot is already taken." Mother birds are usually the ones who build the nests, but in a few cases, the father bird does the job. The male woodpecker, for example, makes a nest for his mate. His beak is very sharp, sharp enough to drill a hole into the wood of a tree. Peck, 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 peck. And the mother looks like she's sitting there telling him how to do it, maybe. Sometimes both mother and father birds build their nests together. That's what the barn swallows do. Barn swallows are friendly creatures. Most birds like to live alone. But barn swallows like living all together inside a big barn, kind of like a neighborhood. At nesting time, they work in pairs, mothers and fathers together. The barn is a whirl as they all fly about. The swallows go outside to get balls of mud, and they use the mud to plaster the nest to the sides of the wood in the barn. After a week of work, the big mud nests line the walls of the barn. They also put straw in there too, because inside of a barn you can get straw and hay. When a nest is all built, the birds usually add one more thing: a soft pillow for the bottom. Don't you like having your soft pillow for your head? The softness keeps the eggs from cracking. It also helps keep baby birds warm and cozy. The barn swallows stuff their nests with chicken feathers. Sawdust and wood chips pad the woodpecker's nest, because after they're pecking the tree, there's a lot of sawdust left. And fine grass makes a pillow for the robin's nest. Birds are amazing architects. Do you know what an architect is? An architect is someone who designs buildings and homes. Birds are very good architects. They design their own nests. Take the hummingbird. She's so tiny, she's no bigger than a bumblebee. Her nest is as small as a walnut shell, yet it is perfectly woven like a little cup. The outside is covered with green moss, and sticky spider webs hold it together. The nest of the Baltimore Oriole is a treasure, too. It looks like a cradle with a long grass handle. The cradle hangs from the tree branch. When the wind blows, it rocks the baby birds nestled inside. I wonder if the mother sings to them while they're rocking. Many people enjoy collecting nests. Maybe you would too. There is just one important rule to remember. Take the nests only in the fall and the winter. The birds are done with them then. Most birds will not use the same nest again. Some birds do come back and use their same nest. I can think of a couple. The great blue heron and eagles and osprey. They come back to their same nest every year, and they rebuild it and they make it bigger and better and they fix it up. Start in the spring by laying out pieces of bright string or yarn. Chances are the birds will pick them up and use them in their nests. In the fall, you may find your pieces are back again as part of a bird's home. When the winter comes, look at your nests. Maybe you will think about the hardworking birds who made them. Those birds will probably be far away by then, but next spring they will come back, just like always. And when they do, you will hear their chirps and chitters fill the air. And you will see them fill the trees once more with new cradles for their young. I'm one of those people that likes to collect birds' nests because I find it so interesting to see what they use to make their nest. And I have some to share with you. This one I had to put inside of a tray because it's a very messy nest and it's not held together with any mud or glue from their bodies. It's got grasses and sticks and even some leftover cocoons from a caterpillar. It's very messy. What kind of bird do you think made that? The house wren. I found it inside of a bird house. When it was all done, I took it out, but I had to put it in a tray. Oh, remember this from the book? There's mud. It's very firm, too. And I see straw and grass inside for the pillow. And some weeds. Maybe it looks like almost like hay, pieces of hay strings. And inside are some, they're not real or alive. They're pretend. They're blue. And guess which bird makes these kinds of nests with the mud? Do you remember from the book? With soft grass as a pillow, and they lay blue eggs. The American robin. This is one that I find a lot on inside of little shelves in sheds and in people's front porches if there's a little safe spot. And it's made out of moss and grass, and there is mud. It's kind of falling apart, so I had to put it in a tray. There is some mud to hold it together. This is the American phoebe. And we have one that's trying to make a nest in our front porch up on a little shelf. And she drops plops of mud all over the porch. She's kind of messy. here's one that was in the book too. It's one of those cradles in the trees. It's woven perfectly like a little bag or a pouch or a purse. And I'll show you the inside. There's some soft grass at the bottom for the eggs. And it was hanging in a tree. Remember when the wind blows, it rocks like a cradle? Do you know what kind of bird makes these? Do you remember from the story? It is the northern oriole. They're beautiful, orange and black and bright, bright yellow birds. Beautiful. This one, it's so teeny tiny. And look, it looks like a little tiny bowl. And it's made with pine needles and moss and grasses. I don't know what kind of bird made this one, but I can guess it's maybe a hummingbird or maybe a tiny little finch or something. Not sure. I wish I knew. And this one is so cool because it's got hair in it, like the hair on our heads. And I wonder, it's so soft, and that's what they use to make it soft inside. And it's got lots of moss and pine needles and grass. And there's even some pink strips of something that it took. I don't know what kind of bird made that either, but it's kind of fun to think about it and guess. And I wanted to share with you, I brought out my homemade binoculars that I made out of the toilet paper tubes. I hope you made one too. And I'm going to look. The best places to look for nests in trees is where there's lots of woods and the trees are close together because they like to have their nests protected, not out in the open. So I'm going to look with my binoculars and see if I can see any nests. There's a bunch of leaves kind of all stuck together on one branch up there. I'm not sure if it's a nest, but it could have been. I don't see anything else, but I can certainly hear the birds. Well, that's all for now, boys and girls. I hope that you can find a spot at your house where you can look with your binoculars and see birds and maybe find a nest too. All right, bye.